Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 1, Unit 3 review. Remember to show all your work. Let's go ahead and get started. Question number 1 says an equation of the line whose slope is 3 and whose y-intercept is negative 3 over 2. Now, what I want to do real quick is I'm just going to kind of rewrite what it's saying right there. It says my slope is 3, and then our y-intercept is negative 3 over 2. So that means it's 0, negative 3 over 2. So when we plug this in into y equals something x, it's y equals 3x. So if I know that's a positive 3, right away I already know what the answer is, process of elimination. But then we add in the minus 3 over 2, and we get that b is the correct answer. Okay. Number 2, it says which equation represents the following parallel lines? Okay, so if they're parallel, the first thing I notice is I need to know what my slope is. Okay, so when I'm figuring out the slope, it's the rise over the run, and the slope is 3 over 1, which is the same thing as 3. And just to make sure that it's true in both situations, do a different color for the other line. Yeah, m equals 3. So if I know that m is 3, our slope is 3, I can cross out c and d. Okay. And now let's start looking at our y-intercepts. My y-intercept right there is b equals 2. And right there is b equals 0. Okay. So the equation of my two lines is y equals 3x plus 2 for the red line. And then the other one would be y equals 3x plus 0. But we really don't write that plus 0 part, so it's just y equals 3x, which gives us our answer of b. All right, number 3. It says Jermaine has a starting balance of $400 in his savings account. He withdraws or spends $20 per week to shop for presents. Which equation gives the balance of his account y in terms of weeks x? So, a couple things. A starting balance, that means that's how much he starts with. He's not losing it, it's what he has. So he has automatically right now $400. Okay? So if I know that that's a positive 400, I can get rid of B and I can get rid of D. Now the next part says that he spends. Well, if he's spending it, is he gaining money or losing money? He's losing money, so that's 20 per week. That's our slope, so 20x. So y equals negative 20x plus 400, which gives us an answer of C. Number 4, what is the equation of the line shown in the graph? Well, first thing I want to know, is it rising or is it falling? It's falling. If it's falling, it's going to have a negative slope, which means I can get rid of A. Now, what is my falling slope? My slope is, we went down 3 over 2, so negative 3 over 2. Well, the next one I can get rid of is B. Okay? Now the next thing I need to know is my y-intercept. My y-intercept is B, and that's a positive 4. It's positive 4, that means I can get rid of C. Final answer, D. Section 3.2, writing equations given a point and the slope. What is an equation in slope-intercept form of a line that passes through the point 3, 2 and has a slope of 3? So that means my slope equals 3 and my point is 3, 2. So we're going to plug into y minus y1 equals slope x minus x1. Okay, our slope is 3 Remember which one's your x and which one's your y to where those numbers go. And then let's go ahead and distribute. We get y minus 2 equals 3x minus 9. To solve for y, we have to add 2 to both sides. And we get y equals 3x minus 7. So my final answer is C. Okay, on number 6, which equation correctly represents the graph shown on the right? Once again, just like in problem number 4, is it rising or falling? Okay, this graph is rising, so it's going to have a positive slope. Oh, that's a negative slope. Okay. So the next thing I want to know is, what is my slope? Well, this says that my slope is 4 over 2. Because we go up 4 to the right 2. But can we reduce that? We sure can. And which gives us our slope is 2. So let's take a look. Up, that's not 2. Okay, that's 2. Up, that's not 2. Hey, look it. We know what our answer is already. And just to double check, is our y-intercept 3? Or negative 3? It sure is. So C is our answer. Okay, number 3, writing equations giving 2 points. Okay, so if it's giving us 2 points, the first thing we have to do is figure out what our slope is. So I have negative 2 and 4. Those are my first points that I'm going to do. And then we have negative 5 and 7. It might help you if you just rewrite that. So you got 7 comma 4 and negative 5, negative 2. That way you can kind of see, oh, negative 2 and 4, negative 5 and 7, if that helps you out at all. Okay? So when we solve this, negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Negative 5 minus 7 is negative 12. When we reduce that, we get positive 1/2. So that means I can get rid of B, and I can get rid of C. Next thing I need to do is find out what our equation is. So I know that my slope is 1/2. I'm going to choose the 2 negatives just because I know right away that those turn into positives. And distribute. So we get y plus 2 equals 1/2 x plus, now 1/2 times 5, since my answers are all in fractions over here, I'm going to keep that as a fraction. All right. The last thing to do would be to subtract 2 to both sides. And we get y equals 1/2 x plus, that's actually going to be a positive 1/2. And that's going to be a lot easier for you guys to show using your calculators. Okay? Since I just did number 7, I want you guys to do number 8 all on your own. Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, I'm just checking in. I figured out what the slope was. My slope was 2, so then I got to cross out C and D. All right, go ahead and finish it off. Okay, and when you're done, you should get y equals 2x plus 11. All right, let's flip on down. Okay, equations of vertical and horizontal lines. Which equation below represents the line through 2, 6 with a slope of 0? All right, so a slope of 0 means that it's a lazy line, okay? So if it's a lazy line, that means it's just kind of lying flat. And if it's lying flat and it crosses the y-axis, it's going to be a y equals graph. Okay, so that means I can cross out A and B. I know that 2 is my x and 6 is my y. So if it's a y equals graph, it's going to be whatever y equals. So that's where we get y equals 6. Okay. Number 10, which equation represents the line through -5, -3, and -5, 11? So first thing I want to do is I want to figure out what my slope is. Okay. So we got 11 minus 3, and then we've got -5 and -5. Oh, in that bottom, I forgot 2 negatives. That's actually a positive now. So our slope equals, we got 14 on the top, and then -5 plus 5 is 0. So our slope is undefined. Okay, undefined right away is a special case, so it's not going to be those two. Now I know a 0 slope is through y, because we just did that problem, so that means it's going to be b. So we get x equals -5. Okay, moving on to number 11, parallel and perpendicular lines. What is the slope-intercept equation of the line that is parallel, that sounds like a keyword right there, to y equals 3x plus 1 and passes through the point 2, 6? All right, so if it's parallel, that means that we have to steal the slope from the equation, and it's going to be the exact same. And now all we do is plug into the point slope form. I know my slope is 3, and then we plug in our x and y. Why don't you guys pause the video and finish this one up all on your own. Good luck. Okay, when you're all done, you should be getting y equals 3x. And now I forgot to do this before, but which of those ones could we have crossed out right away? You can cross out D because look at their slope. The slope is saying -1/3. That's totally incorrect. All right, number 12. This is which equation below is perpendicular to 2x minus 3y equals 6? Well, if it's going to be perpendicular, the first thing we got to do is steal the slope. But I don't know what the slope is because it's not in slope y equals mx plus b. Okay, so we have to figure out what the slope is, so let's see that. We got to subtract 2x to both sides, and we get -3y equals -2x plus 6. Be very careful with your negatives, guys. Divide everything by -3, and we get this y equals 2/3 x minus 2. Okay? Now what we want to do is we want to steal the slope. So if our slope is 2/3, the opposite reciprocal of that, well, first it would be negative, and then be -3/2. Okay? Now, we can figure out what the answer is right now. But let's go ahead and plug it into point slope to see if we're correct. Okay? Our slope is -3/2. And we got, oh, actually we don't have to do that because it doesn't give us a point. So, hey guys, we're done. I was trying to make you do more work. So, that's not 3/2, that's not 3/2, and that's not 3/2. Your final answer is D. Okay, we got two more. 3.6, the application of linear equations. Number 13 says the taxi company charges a flat fee plus $3 per mile traveled. That sounds important. Customers are charged $15 for a 3-mile ride. So just remember, we got to figure out what X is and what Y is. Y, we always said, is money. And in this example, X is going to be miles. Okay? So write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the situation. Well, if it's in the same sentence, it's going to be a point, and 15 and 3 are all together. So 3 is my miles, so that's my x, and then y is 15. And that other number, $3 per, that's telling me that's what my slope is. So since they give me a slope and a point, let's start plugging in. There's my slope, 15 and 3. Go ahead and distribute. You get y minus 15 equals 3x minus 9. And then we have to add the 15 to both sides. And we get y equals 3x plus 6. Letter B is saying, what does the y-intercept represent? Well, the y-intercept would be the point 0, 6. So 0 would be the miles, and 6 would be the dollars. So if you drive 0 miles and you're getting a taxi, it's $6, which means the flat fee for the taxi is $6. All right, and C. It says Maxine does not have her own car and needs to use the taxi company to get to her mother's house. Calculate Maxine's taxi bill. So we got to figure out what the bill is if she travels 6 miles. So we don't know what the bill is. The bill, that's y, and that's our x. So you need to plug into y equals 3x plus 6, and we're plugging in the number 6. 3 times 6 is 18, and then 18 plus 6 is 24. And remember that we're talking about money. So you get $24. Okay, number 14. In 2001, whatever his name's car was worth $9,200. In 2004, it was worth $6,290. Let x equals 0 represent the year 2000. And remember, that just means we're trying to get some smaller numbers. So right there, it's telling us that x equals the year. So that means y equals our money. They're giving us 2 points. And remember, each sentence is a point. So our first one is point 1, because remember, we just worry about that last number, and 9,200, and then our other point is 4, and then 6,290. The first thing we need to do is to find the slope. So we get 6,290 minus 9,200. And then we have 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1 on the bottom, easy, 3. Okay, but the other one, 6,290 minus 9,200, that equals negative 2,910. And we have to simplify that, so I'm just going to divide that number by 3, and we get the slope is negative 970. Okay, and the last thing is we need to plug in. Just for overall small numbers, I'm going to do 4 and 6,290. So when we distribute, we get negative 970x. And then we have negative 4 times negative 970, positive 3,880. Okay, and then to get to y by itself, we have to add that 6,290, and we get y equals negative 970x. C plus 6290, 10,170. Woo! A lot of work and some big numbers. Okay, let's look at letter B. It says, what was the car worth in 2006? So what was it worth in 2006? What was it worth? That's our y, and this is our x. So you're going to be plugging in. Remember, we only look at that last number. So y equals negative 9,700 times 6 plus 10,170. So all you have to do is plug that into your calculator. Negative 970 times 6 plus 10,170. And we get y equals 4,350. Okay, and the next one is saying, what year was the car worth 1,400? So remember, what year, that's our x, and that's our y. Okay, so now we're trying to figure out what x is. Now we're doing the exact opposite. Okay, to solve for x, following SADMAP, we got to subtract that 10,170. So we got 1140 minus 10,170, and then we get negative 9,030. Okay, and don't forget about your negatives. You have to divide by negative 9,000 or 970, divide by negative 970. And we get, oh, Mr. Grice made a mistake somewhere. Oh, that's because I put 1140 instead of 1440. My bad. Always got to be very careful. That should have been negative 8730. Okay, now let's divide that by negative 970. And we get 9. And remember, it's not just year 9, it's 2009. Okay? I guess, well, what do you know? Look at that. All of the answers were down there. Okay? You can go back and check. Hopefully I got them all right because I wasn't using an answer key on this one. But that's going to be it for Algebra 1 Unit 3 review. If you have any questions, you need to come see Ms. Carranza or myself because your test is coming up soon and we want you to pass. Okay? Come in for help if you need it. Otherwise, thanks for watching.